On press on the manual today, I'm going to show quickly how we set up our pallets, tack them up, prep them with pallet paper, quick and easy. So got the pallets in the shot. It's only 4 on this press, so it'll be easy to demonstrate this. This is how you set this up the right way, and I'll walk you through this. So these pallets or platens are pretty grody, the paper on them right now, so we need to get rid of them for the next job. So that's the first step. Pulling the paper. You want to change the paper fairly regularly, especially as it builds up, because any kind of buildup at all that's not a flat surface on your press is going to affect the next print and show through. If you got chunks of lint or threads, things like that, it's definitely going to affect it if it's in the print area, specifically of the next print. So yeah, first thing, we're just going to pull the paper off all of them, and then quickly, because the last job we did on here was a pretty lengthy one, I'm going to take a peek and just use some water to clean off any areas of tack that may be on the actual pallets. Like I see we got a little bit on there. I'm just going to hit that because we do use water-based adhesive. Just a little bit of water to clean them up. And then I do have a flash over here, so it's going to go under there and just dry that up real quick. But I am cleaning off any water-based residue that's still on there. May have gotten around the paper on the last run. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want a good, clean surface to reapply my now new fresh paper on. This palette right here is pretty dirty. Got a lot of little areas that it got through on. Just making sure that's good and clean. And I like my pallets to stay protected by the pallet paper. I don't want them to stay clean because pallets not only cost a lot of money, but even the replacement rubber that goes on top of them isn't really that cheap. So just kind of taking care of your stuff and cleaning it as you go is well worth a couple minutes of effort. It just doesn't take much. So those are pretty good now. Again, that was just water in that spray bottle because we do use water-based adhesive. That's all there is. So looking at the ones that already went back around under the flash, and they're already dried up and ready to go. So time to put some pallet paper on. This is 18-inch roll of R tape, pallet paper, pallet adhesive, whatever you want to call it, from NASDAR. Talk to Greg Marcus or Beth Kerfus there. And all I have here, utility knife blade, very sharp, nice fresh one. We keep them right here on the end of our dryer in this little magnetic parts holder. You see there's a bunch of them in there because we use them all the time. But they don't get tossed all over the place because they're in there. So first thing I'm going to do, take this all the way to the back and then push down and get that fully adhered back there. Grab my blade now, roll it out, take it to the end, trim that off. I'm going to take the paper now without touching it or doing anything and go the whole way across, and that gets rid of any bubbles. And then if you would have any bubbles or anything still left, you could always take your blade through it just like this really quickly and just check it. But that's pretty much perfect. And then you're going to want to do all the pallets like that, and then you're going to want to go back through and trim them. Now, on an auto, you can also do this as a 2-person team, where the person in the offloader position is putting the paper on, cutting off as it indexes over to the press operator position. He's trimming them. You can do it very, very, very fast that way. And I've seen people who are like, changing paper takes forever, but it shouldn't. So Last step here of putting the pallet paper on, I'm just taking my blade, running it around the contour of the edge, just trim it off. But now it's on there, and it's really well adhered. There's no air bubbles, there's nothing, and you know, it's all the way up to the corners because we cleaned it off and made sure there wasn't crap under there so that it wouldn't adhere to it. You know, I've had different employees and things over the years say, oh, my pallet paper always rolls up like this. Well, it's because your platens, your pallets aren't clean underneath. If they're clean underneath, it does adhere to it. So final step in prep is putting on pallet glue. All we do is have it in this little squeeze bottle like so. Squeeze a little applicator like this that's in our water base, just water bucket, sits here on the floor. And all this is CCI Top Bond pallet adhesive. Again, you can get that from NASDAR. Talk to Greg Marcus or Beth Kerfus. That's it. Now, when you are applying tack the first time, you know, typically anytime you apply tack or reapply tack, you just need to tack up in the image area. But the very first time on M&R style pallets, I always make a light bead of that glue and I get it all the way up to the edge, and that really seals it down well. So you don't have to use a lot, but this is the very first time when I put fresh pallet paper on. Take it all the way around the edge, and I take this little metal or metal plastic. All it is a sign applicator for vinyl, but you know, and I'm running that bead of that glue, making sure it gets all the way around to the edge. It's not really excessive, but it does get all the way to the edge. That way you don't have these little dry areas, you know, that you're missing. Because again, that will cause your pallet paper on long runs to want to peel up and get corners, and then your pallets get messy. So then, you know, after I've really made sure I've sealed down that edge good, now I'm going back and actually applying the rest of it into the middle there, where my actual print's going to be. You know, that's it. So all you got to do now, once your pallets are in this spot, start preheating them. Preheat them, start getting them under flash and preheat them up. You know, right now if I were to put my hand in that tack, it would feel watery, it would feel completely wet, it would feel not sticky at all. But after it preheats, because it is heat activated, it'll be very sticky, very tacky. So a little goes a very long way with that. Another quick tip, when we, as we're going through a run and it builds up with lint and stuff, often instead of retacking, the first thing we will do is again just take our water spray bottle, spray that all down, and scrub it with one of these little scrub brushes and just beat that lint back off real quick, and then you will have a clean pallet again that's going to feel very sticky. You don't have to always reapply tack every time. You can see like how much lint comes off. The last job we did was a bunch of red shirts, so you can see right there just how much, you know, takes off just by reapplying some water. So that water-based adhesive is awesome that CCI makes. I've literally used it for millions of shirts for a lot of years. Works well, and if you use it like that, it's extremely cost-effective. So you know, set your pallets up like that. Make sure they're clean. Make sure there's no bubbles in the paper, all that stuff, and you'll really set yourself up for success from minute one. You know, don't partially do this. You know, I'm trying to say this in a very PC way, but do a good job on this on the front end, and you'll save yourself a lot of time and effort in the long run, even if it takes a few seconds longer initially.